And so there is the news that we have all been slowly dreading the further and further we have gone in this tournament. This morning, as reported by Fabrizio Romano, the FA are insisting on Gareth Southgate that he stays. They want him to be England's manager regardless of the outcome in the Euros final against Spain. Internal talks have already taken place to confirm total confidence in Southgate. Now, look. This is obviously what I have been absolutely dreading. We spoke about it before the quarterfinal. What's more important, England winning this tournament or Gareth Southgate not being the manager for the World Cup in 2 years' time? Because remember, Gareth Southgate's contract is up on December 31st this year. He is then officially out of contract and England will be in need of a new manager ahead of the World Cup in a further 18 months' time after that. But I have sat here time and time again to say, please, no, don't carry him on any further. And plus, he's stated on multiple occasions that he's not particularly interested in staying on as England manager unless we win this tournament. But the problem is, if we win on Sunday, or now by the looks of it, even if we don't, he's got the backing that he needs to turn around and say that I've proven myself again and I'm going to stay on. And if anyone's going to do that, it's going to be Gareth Southgate. Because again, we've sat here multiple times and spoken about his arrogance and reluctance to listen to everything that everyone else has been saying to actually admit that he's been wrong because we still get through. And look, we'll breathe and break down this tournament as to what he's done right and what he's done wrong as to how we've actually managed to get to this position. Firstly, the group stages. It is not because of Gareth Southgate that we won that group. We won the first game, we drew the second game, we drew the third game. It's because of Gareth Southgate's tactics that we drew the second game. It's because of Gareth Southgate's tactics that we drew the third game. It is not due to Gareth Southgate that Denmark didn't win their final game. Don't forget, if Denmark win that game, we would have been the ones playing Germany on the bad side of the draw, and our run to this final would have been Germany, Spain, France. That is not because of Gareth Southgate. That's because Denmark didn't score in their final game. If Denmark scored, we would have been on the bad side of the draw. Then we look at the the last 16 and the quarterfinals. It is not because of Gareth Southgate that Jude Bellingham scored an overhead kick in the 95th minute. It is not because of Gareth Southgate that Bukayo Saka scored from 30 yards in the 80th minute. It is because of Gareth Southgate and Gareth Southgate's tactics that those were our only 2 shots on target in normal time across both of those games. It is not because of Gareth Southgate that we constantly end up playing well when we're losing. It is because of Gareth Southgate that we end up losing in these matches in the first place. It's then absolutely baffling that all of a sudden we turn into this great attacking side the moment we go behind in matches because we then have no other choice. So Southgate goes, right, go for it. That's not because of him, that's because he's got no choice. It is because of Gareth Southgate that the moment we then equalise, we then go back into this defensive mould to see out the rest of the game. Look at what happened against Slovakia in that last 16 match. We scored straight from kickoff. There was no time for us to actually sit back because we scored again. The moment we scored again, guess what happened? Substitutions. We go defensive. Slovakia nearly equalise. The Swiss game, Saka equalises. Do we capitalise on that momentum? No. We sit back. We then play for extra time. In extra time, we sit back. We almost lose. We get to penalties. We scrape through. Then in the semi-final, we go behind again. We equalise because we go for it. We actually continue. I don't know if he said carry on because we looked that good, but we carried on. We kept going. And then at half-time, he went, no. Stop the fullbacks. We spoke about it the other day. Stop the fullbacks getting forward. We're leaving ourselves too vulnerable to Gakpo in behind. Stay back in the second half. Play it safe. The Dutch get back on top despite us dominating the first half. And the one good thing he's done all tournament was sub on Ollie Watkins in that semi-final who got us the winner. However, as I spoke about in my reaction the other day, he only did that in the 80th minute when I was speaking about it and others were mentioning it at half-time because Harry Kane was done. His tactics just don't suit this team. This team has got us to this final. The run of teams that we've had to play against have got us to this final. Do you really think that if Denmark would have scored that goal, that we'd have beaten Germany in the last 16, that we'd have beaten Spain in the quarterfinals, that we'd have beaten France in the semi-finals? You let me know in the comments. Would we have won any of those 3 games the way that we played in that group stage going into that last 16 match? Do you really think we'd have done anything in any of those games? Let me know. Then you have to go back in history as to what he's achieved as England manager. And I've spoken about this before as well. Yes, we got to the semi-finals of his first major tournament. Then we got to the semi-finals of the Nations League. Then we got to the final of the Euros. All 3 of those tournaments, the exact same thing happened in said match. We went ahead, then we sat back, then they equalised, then we lost. Because this manager's mindset is too safe. Especially now, you look at that pool of attacking talent that we have got available to us and they are not being allowed to express themselves. Again, look at that first half of the semi-final. When we actually expressed ourselves, we are a phenomenal group of talented players. And they're all young, with the exception of Harry Kane. They are all young, talented players. They deserve the right to play at the highest level with a manager that allows them to express themselves to the most of their abilities. I'll say it now because you've got all the other teams from across the world that will come into this World Cup. In 2 years' time, that Spanish team as well is going to be at a significantly higher standard. We need to have our best players being allowed to express themselves to the maximum of their ability if we're going to achieve success at the World Cup in 2 years' time. And look, we could win this final on Sunday. We really could. Because we are that good as an actual group of players. But his tactics will work against us. Look, this is why I'm doing this video now. Because in 2 days' time, I could be holding my hands up apologising because he actually says to them, do you know what? Go and beat Spain. They play so highly and so forward thinking that we might actually be able to hit them. So if we play to our strengths and we actually try and create ourselves, we'll just be better than them and we'll win. But I don't think we'll do that. I think we'll be sat in deep like we always do, and we'll most likely end up succumbing to the Spanish pressure as the French did the other night. So we'll see. And look, I don't care what individual accolades he achieves if we win on Sunday. Because, like I've already spoken about, semi-final of the Euros, semi-final of the World Cup, semi-final of the Nations League, final of the Euros, quarterfinals of the World Cup, and now final of the Euros again, which could end in winning the Euros again. If they want to knight him, if they want to give him Sports Personality of the Year, if we win on Sunday, I don't care. Because he'll feel that he's earned it, and the record books will state that he probably has earned it for what has been achieved this year. However, don't forget what I have mentioned. We lost those other games due to his tactics. We lost 4-0 to Hungary because of his tactics. We got relegated from the Nations League because of his tactics. We almost didn't win the group because of his tactics. We almost got knocked out by Slovakia because of his tactics. We almost got knocked out by Switzerland and only had to win on penalties because of his tactics. We will not win the World Cup if he is in charge. And I know people are going to be sitting there going, well, what's your solution? Who's going to replace him if he leaves? Well, I'll tell you what we have got. 2 years to figure it out. And the most incredible group of talented footballers we've arguably ever had, with 2 years to get them even better. So for me, whatever happens, he has to go. And I wanted to get this video out now before Sunday in case we do win, because I'm going to be obviously jubilated if we win on Sunday. It's going to be one of the happiest days of my life if we win on Sunday, and I'm going to be singing and crying and all sorts for weeks to come if we actually win on Sunday. But the reality has to sink in that whatever happens on Sunday, he's not the right man to lead this side forward, given the players that we have got available to us. One final point to mention. Mark Gahey has arguably been our player of the tournament. I know some people are saying Mainu, some people are saying Foden, etc., etc. For me, Mark Gahey has been our player of the tournament. He would not be playing if Harry Maguire was fit, because you know Gareth Southgate would have picked Harry Maguire instead of him. You know that he is already upset that Calvin Phillips was not available to us because of how poor he's been. And he said in his press conferences that the reason we are struggling is because we've not had a natural replacement for Calvin Phillips. Well, surprise, surprise, Kobbie Mainoo's gone into that team since that comment and has probably been our best player since he made that comment. So he has no idea how to run this team. He has no idea how to get the best out of these players. And going forward with this group of players that in 2 years' time you think Bellingham will be 22, Mainoo will be 21, Rice will be 26, Saka will be 23, Foden will be 25. All getting to that stage of their career when they're going to be getting even better, even more aggressive, even more talented. And we're going to be wasted with a manager who is going to want to not lose in every single one of these games again. For me, whatever happens, Southgate has to go. FA, get your head screwed on. If we lose on Sunday, he should just resign. He should just resign. It's as simple as that. I think that was his intention regardless. But if they convince him to stay, which I don't think is going to take much convincing now, but if they convince him to stay, I'm telling you, it's going to be a mistake. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching as always. Southgate out. Whatever happens, I'll see you soon.